bringing you the news and information you need from the people making a difference. This is Comcast Newsmakers.
Thanks for joining us. Political analyst Mark Curtis is back on the show. It's good to have you because you have been giving the scoop on your blog at markcurtis.com of all the stuff that's been happening in this long run to the White House. Tell me, first of all, do you think that Hillary Clinton's candidacy as a woman is really changing the playbook in terms of American politics?
Oh, I think so. Whether she winds up being president or vice president someday isn't really the point. The point is she ran as far as any woman has ever run. She got 18 million votes. She almost got the nomination. When she said she nearly cracked the glass ceiling, the highest glass ceiling, she's correct.
She's like 18 million cracks in the glass ceiling.
Yeah. Someday, maybe it's my daughter, I don't know. Someday there will be a woman in the White House as president, and she paved the way for that to happen, whether she gets there or not.
I guess there are people like the president of the National Organization for Women who point to sexism in media coverage, even within the Democratic Party, that she was mistreated. Do you agree with that analysis?
I think it's nonsense. I think every candidate got a fair shake out there. Look, campaigns are about ideas, and they're about enthusiasm, and Barack Obama caught fire. He was one of the great public speakers, one of the great orators of our time, and people really tuned into his theme of change and some of the new ideas. And some people looked at Hillary Clinton as been there, done that. We had her husband for 2 terms, and she's been in the Senate. People wanted new and different this year, and the idea of change was a big slogan, and it worked well for Obama. This is nothing about sexism. This is a campaign about ideas.
What about the issue of race and how that played out? I mean, you went to over 25 states, state by state. You got to see on the ground the way the campaigns were operating. You think race had a role as well? I know there was a lot of discussion about it.
I think race probably had more of a role than gender, but still not a significant role. I mean, you look at a state like Iowa, the very first one out of the box, 97% white is Iowa, yet Iowa went for Obama. And that tells you a lot of people in the heartland are saying, we don't care the race or gender of the candidate, we care about their ideas and what they're going to do, what they might do with the economy or what they might do with the war. And so, but on the flip side of that is there were pockets in West Virginia and Pennsylvania, and I talked to some of the voters there in some of those communities, and they said, no, I'm not going to vote for Obama. I'm going to vote for McCain. If Hillary Clinton doesn't
Are they Democrats?
Were
they
Democrats?
Democrats?
They were Democrats, and they were people who said they would not vote for Obama because he's black. I think it's a very small minority of people. I don't think it'll be a factor in November.
What about this demographic I hear about now that Senator Clinton has conceded? They're talking about the block of voters they call the angry white woman voters. Is that a real thing too?
Oh, there's always cliches. We had, 12 years ago, we had the angry white men. In 1980, we had the Reagan Democrats. You always have these factions of voters, whether they're significant or not. Now, in the case of Reagan, the Reagan Democrats were a real constituency. We were talking blue-collar factory workers, mostly Democrats in the industrial Midwest that were losing their jobs, that didn't think Jimmy Carter was strong enough to be president, and his first term was a disaster. They went for Reagan. Then you get these other factions that sometimes I think get created by the New York Times or the Washington Post. I don't know if there's really an angry white woman constituency out there. There are women who are upset that Hillary Clinton didn't get in. Whether they are enough of a force that coalesces to be a factor, I doubt it.
Now, the first day that Senator Obama was clearly the Democratic candidate, and he made a speech the same day that Senator McCain gave a speech, right. Pundits compared and contrasted and said, "Oh, McCain's better bone up on his speaking skills when you compare the two." You think people decide their votes based on that kind of presentation or based on the issues?
It can. Look, people will long not remember John McCain's speech that night. That was mostly an effort for him to elbow his way to get into the headlines. You have to remember he sewed up the nomination in Texas back on March 4th, and so all the reporters, all the press coverage went to Obama and Clinton in this historic Titan battle, and McCain couldn't even get into the newspapers, let alone, the cable news networks.
Except that green background. Everyone talked about the green background. Well, thank you very much, Mark Curtis, for joining us today. MarkCurtis.com is where you can read his ongoing blog, so stay tuned. Thanks for joining us.